It started when a prehistoric shark lost a tooth. Over time, a few millimeters every million years or so, minerals formed around it and other bits of debris, until they became potato-sized rocks. Eventually, billions lay dormant on the sea floor, until in 1873, the HMS Challenger retrieved what its sailors described as peculiar black oval bodies on a scientific expedition. We now know these rocks, called nodules, are rich in valuable metals like cobalt, manganese and nickel. All are vital to the transition to a green energy future. They're used in batteries, solar panels, wind turbines and electric vehicles. But the process used to collect them is controversial. Mining companies have been testing technologies to essentially suck up and retrieve these nodules and claim the environmental risks are limited. But some scientists warn using heavy machinery on the ocean floor could cause irreversible damage to a part of the ocean we still know little about.
Pacific people, the ocean is our life source. As a result, a lot of our traditions and our cultures and customs have derived from the ocean. So we really need a lot more time to be doing the proper science, the proper work, to better understand this unique space.
At the moment, countries only have the right to extract minerals from within their own waters. Mining in international waters is governed by a UN body called the International Seabed Authority, or the ISA. And in order for companies to exploit the vast swathes of ocean outside of territorial waters, they need to be sponsored by a member nation. The idea is that any profits drawn from these international resources should be shared among member states. Around 30 exploration contracts have been granted by the ISA, but the agency is yet to decide on a regulatory framework to begin commercial operations. Pacific nations are divided over the issue. Some, like Vanuatu and Fiji, are leading the push to have a moratorium imposed until more is understood.
The issue for me is not banning it. The science and the preparatory framework and Pacific Islanders' involvement and participation in that process is missing.
Nauru is one of 3 Pacific countries, alongside Tonga and Kiribati, currently holding an exploratory license with a company called the Metals Company to work in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, a vast area of ocean rich in nodules.
Our resource sits on the seafloor like golf balls on a driving range.
Gerard Barron is the company's CEO. He says deep sea mining is giving Pacific nations agency in the fight against climate change.
Typically, what has happened in the past are these opportunities are developed by Western developed countries. And so this is an opportunity of sharing those benefits in a much more equitable way.
Mr. Barron says that as demand for battery metals grows, so too does the environmental and human cost of mining them.
At the moment, we're focused on getting those metals from some of the most pristine biodiverse habitats on our planets. We're pushing into our rainforests, we're dislodging indigenous communities. And going to the part of the planet with the least life, not the most life, is not a bad starting point.
But many remain unconvinced. And the promise that deep-sea exploration will herald benefits for humanity is met with skepticism by many Pacific Island communities.
5 seconds to go.
Prior to an atomic bomb test on Bikini Atoll in 1946, 167 islanders agreed to leave their homes after assurances by the American military governor the tests would turn this great destructive force into something good for mankind. Destructive mining by colonial powers has also not been forgotten.
The experience of land-based mining such as Papua New Guinea ought to be understood because it's environmentally catastrophic.
Mr. Barron says there'll be royalties and taxes paid to sponsor nations if commercial mining is approved. But exactly how everyday Pacific Islanders would benefit is unclear.
Come to think about it, most Pacific Islanders, people who live in disconnected from what is happening in the boardrooms of corporate entities. So making decisions in faraway places such as New York or London without any kind of input from people whose livelihoods are going to be affected by this very new frontiers extractive sector will have telling implications.